Boston, Massachusetts was the site of many historical events from the early American history. The site has the largest number of sites related to the American Revolution. The walking trail known as the Freedom Trail covers 2.5 miles throughout the city and includes 16 historical sites. Now, for us to take a bus ride from our school up to the Freedom Trail would take about 21 hours. So instead, I thought our class could go and explore the Freedom Trail through this video. Are you ready? Let's go see it. This is Boston Commons and the first stop on the Freedom Trail. This park was settled by the Puritans, and in 1775, it was used by the British, who camped out here before heading to the first battle at Lexington and Concord. This is the Massachusetts State House and was completed in January 1798. Up there on that dome in 1874, they put 24-karat gold leaf, yes, gold, on the dome. Stop 3 is the Park Street Church. The church was founded in 1809 and was known for being very supportive of the abolitionist movement, that is, people fighting against slavery. The church still holds weekly meetings every week. This is Granary Burial Grounds, and this dates all the way back to 1660. There are 2,300 grave markers here in the cemetery. A few of those famous people that were buried here were Paul Revere, John Hancock, and the victims of the Boston Massacre. King's Chapel and Burial Ground is 2 stops in 1. This is the site of where a small wooden church was built in 1688. In 1749, the church congregation had outgrew the small building. So they built this large stone church around the small wooden church. Then they took the church apart and pulled all those wooden pieces out through the windows. This is the original site of the oldest public school in America, which is 383 years old. The Boston Latin and Grammar School only taught boys up until 1972. The school is now a different part of the city and continues to teach both boys and girls. This is the Old Corner Bookstore. In the 1800s, the Corner Bookstore was a central point for publishing in America. Many famous writers were first published right here. We are over halfway through our tour at this point. This is the Old State House. This was the center of the American Revolution and where the founding fathers would meet. The Boston Massacre was a very famous event from the American Revolution, and this is exactly where it took place, right outside the Old State House. In 1770, gunshots rang out between the colonists and British soldiers. 5 men lost their lives. This event would help move America even closer to war. This building was the heart of the American Revolution. The first town hall meetings were held right here. It is called the home of free speech and the cradle of liberty. Faneuil Hall is where Americans first protested the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act. That is a lot of history packed into one building. We are now at the only home on the actual Freedom Trail, Paul Revere's house. This is where he lived with his 16 children. The next stop is the oldest standing building in the city. Old North Church was part of Paul Revere's ride to let the colonists know that the British were marching towards Lexington and Concord. We are now at Copp's Hill Burial Ground, a graveyard that was first used in 1659 and is Boston's largest colonial burial grounds. Merchants, artisans, and craftspeople were often buried here. This is the site of the Battle of Bunker Hill, which took place June 17, 1775. The British realized the colonists would be a really tough opponent at this battle, and the phrase, "Don't fire till you see the white of their eyes," was said right here by Colonel William Prescott. This here is the USS Constitution. The USS Constitution is also known as Old Ironside and was a famous ship from the War of 1812. Now you have seen all of the sites along the Freedom Trail and know a little bit about each one. The interesting thing about all of these sites is they were not directly related to the American Revolution. They each, though, have a historical significance, which is why they were included when the trail was created in 1951. Why do you think they would have selected these sites? Why would they call the path the Freedom Trail if all of the sites were not part of the American Revolution? An article by Alfred Young suggests that the use of these sites that were not directly connected actually makes the trail a stronger trail. What do you think?